Most people spend their whole lives performing, smiling when they're hurting, agreeing when their soul is screaming no, shrinking themselves just to fit inside someone else's idea of acceptable. And maybe you've done it too. Not because you're weak, but because you were taught that being liked is the same as being worthy. But there comes a moment when the weight of other people's opinions becomes heavier than the life you're trying to live. A moment when you realize their approval never brought peace, and their judgment never truly defined you. Stoic philosophy teaches a quiet but powerful truth. You cannot control what they think, but you can control who you choose to become. Today, we will walk through a path that frees you from the invisible prison of other people's expectations. And by the end of this video, you may finally breathe like someone who belongs to themselves. 1. You can't control their opinions, only your response. Most of the pain you feel doesn't come from what people think, but from your attempt to control it. The more you chase approval, the more powerless you become. We grow up believing that if we try hard enough, behave the right way, speak the right way, impress the right people, then their judgment will somehow give us permission to exist. But reality works differently. The world has 7 billion minds, each carrying their own fears, wounds, biases, and insecurities. Their thoughts were never yours to manage, and every time you try, you abandon yourself a little more. Stoic philosophy begins with one truth. The only thing fully yours is your mind, your choices, your actions, your response. Everything else lives outside your control. When you attach your worth to someone's opinion, you hand them the remote control of your emotions, and without realizing it, you let their moods dictate your peace. Their assumptions define your identity, and their misunderstandings shape your decisions. You suffer most when you try to control what was never under your control. Think about the times you felt anxious walking into a room, worried someone might judge your clothes, your body, your confidence, your silence. Notice something. Nothing happened yet. The fear came from imagining their thoughts, not from their thoughts themselves. You created pressure inside your own mind by assuming you could influence how they see you, and deep down, you knew you couldn't. Release arrives the moment you accept that their mind is not your territory. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events," he wasn't just talking about disasters or misfortune. He was talking about people. Their opinions are outside events. Their judgments are outside events. Even their misunderstandings are outside events. You don't fix them. You simply return to yourself. The moment you stop trying to manage someone's perception is the moment you regain your freedom. In practical life, this means shifting your focus from "how do they see me?" to "how do I choose to show up?" One question traps you in performance. The other anchors you in authenticity. One makes you reactive. The other makes you sovereign. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you stop trying to negotiate your worth. You stop bending your identity to fit into someone else's frame. You stop apologizing for simply existing the way you are. And most importantly, you stop abandoning yourself to protect an image in someone else's mind. You don't need to change their thoughts. You need to change your focus. Start with this. When a judgment appears, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? The answer will always be no. And with that answer comes an exhale, a soft release from the weight you've carried too long. Because the truth is simple, your power begins where their opinions end. 2. Their judgment reflects them, not you. What people say about you reveals far more about their inner world than it does about your worth. When someone judges you, they are really describing the limits of their own understanding. Most of us grow up believing that other people's opinions are accurate mirrors, truths that tell us who we are. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Their judgment is not a reflection of your identity, it is a projection of their beliefs, fears, wounds, expectations, and insecurities. When someone criticizes your choices, your dreams, or your personality, they are often expressing the boundaries of their own courage, not the boundaries of yours. Think about the last time someone doubted you. Did their doubt come from clarity, or from their inability to imagine something bigger for themselves? People often judge what they don't understand, fear what they cannot control, and dismiss what they secretly wish they had the strength to pursue. Their reaction says everything about them and almost nothing about you. People see you through the lens of their past, not the truth of your potential. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "They are not judging you, they are judging their own assumptions." This simple idea can free you from years of emotional burden. When someone calls you too quiet, it may be because they are uncomfortable with silence. When someone calls you too ambitious, it may be because they gave up on their own dreams. When someone says, "You've changed," it's often because they can no longer predict or control you. So many of the labels people throw at you are just echoes of their internal conflicts, their envy, their frustration, their fear of being left behind, their need to feel superior. None of these belong to you unless you choose to carry them. You're not responsible for the stories they create about you in their minds. This shift is powerful. Instead of absorbing their words, you begin observing them. Instead of arguing, you start understanding. Instead of shrinking, you stand tall, knowing the criticism was never truly about you in the first place. In real life, this means learning to pause before taking anything personally. When a comment stings, ask yourself, is this feedback or is this projection? Most of the time, you'll know the answer immediately. And when you do, something inside you changes. Their words lose their power. Their tone loses its bite. Their judgment becomes background noise rather than a verdict on your identity. Not everything that enters your ears deserves a home in your heart. You can listen with compassion, but you don't have to accept every opinion as truth. You can acknowledge their perspective without shaping your life around it. You can remain calm knowing this. People speak from their own wounds, just as they love from their own capacity. And if their judgment does not reflect the person you know yourself to be, then it simply isn't yours to carry. Their opinion is their story. Your life is yours. 3. People think about you far less than you believe. Most of the fear you carry is built on an illusion, the illusion that everyone is watching you. The truth is, people are far too absorbed in their own lives to analyze yours. We imagine that every mistake, every awkward moment, every imperfect detail is being examined under a spotlight. But psychology calls this the spotlight effect, the tendency to believe we are the center of everyone's attention, when in reality, most people are focused on their own insecurities, problems, and worries. They are thinking about their bills, their relationships, their deadlines, their fears, not the angle of your smile or the tone of your voice. Your mind creates pressure that the world isn't actually placing on you. We all have moments where we replay a conversation, obsessing over a sentence we said, convinced the other person is still thinking about it. But while you are losing sleep over that moment, they've already moved on to thinking about something else entirely. Stoicism teaches that our suffering is amplified, not by reality, but by interpretation. You imagine judgment that never existed. You fear opinions that were never formed. You're not living in other people's thoughts as much as you think, because they too are trapped in their own. Picture this. You walk into a room and feel eyes on you. Your mind whispers, "They're judging me." But pause for a second. If you were in their place, would you be judging someone else that intensely? No. You'd likely be thinking about your day, your concerns, your confidence, your image. And that's exactly what they're doing. Everyone is busy being the main character of their own story. This realization is liberating. If no one is truly watching you, then you are free to stop performing, free to stop overthinking every interaction, free to be imperfect without fear that an entire audience is keeping score. Most of the pressure you feel is self-created, and that means you can uncreate it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You're afraid of what they think, but soon they won't think of anything at all." Life moves fast. Opinions fade. Conversations disappear. Faces blur. People come and go. The idea that they will carry your mistakes forever simply isn't true. Instead of imagining an audience that critiques you, imagine a quiet room with only yourself. Because at the end of the day, the voice that speaks the loudest, the voice that decides what kind of life you live, is not theirs. It's yours. You don't need to fear judgment that lasts seconds while your life lasts decades. Begin practicing this. When you feel observed, whisper to yourself, "They're not thinking about me. They're thinking about themselves." And instantly, your shoulders loosen. Your breath softens. The world becomes less threatening because you realize it was never really watching. And in that space of truth, something powerful happens. You stop living for imaginary eyes and start living for your real self. 4. Seeking approval makes you a prisoner. The moment you need someone's approval, you hand them the power to decide your worth. Approval feels sweet, but its cost is your freedom. Most people don't realize how early this trap forms. As children, we learn that praise brings love, quietness brings safety, achievement brings acceptance. So we grow into adults who chase validation without even noticing we're running. Every compliment becomes a hit of dopamine. Every criticism becomes a wound. And slowly, your identity shapes itself around what keeps people pleased rather than what keeps your soul alive. Stoic philosophy sees approval for what it truly is: dependence. When your happiness rises and falls based on how others respond to you, you become emotionally fragile. You lose your grounding. You become easy to manipulate. A single disapproving look can ruin your day. A single misunderstood comment can collapse your confidence. Why? Because your sense of self lives outside of you, floating in their hands instead of standing in your heart. When you try to please everyone, you lose the person you are meant to become. Seneca warned that he who seeks praise loses himself. Praise is intoxicating. It blinds you to the truth that not all praise is genuine, not all praise is wise, and not all praise is aligned with your values. People will applaud you when you play the role they expect and fall silent the moment you choose authenticity over performance. Think about a time when you hid a part of yourself just to be accepted. Maybe you kept a dream quiet because others wouldn't understand. Maybe you softened your personality to seem more agreeable. Maybe you stayed silent to avoid disappointing someone. Those are not small sacrifices. Those are pieces of your identity being traded away for approval that never lasted. Approval is never stable, and anything unstable cannot be your foundation. People change. Their moods change. Their preferences change. Their expectations change. If you anchor your worth to a shifting sea, you will drown in every tide. Stoicism teaches that the only stable foundation is virtue. Your character, your integrity, your courage, your principles. These live inside you. These cannot be taken away. These create a life you can stand firmly in, even when the world disapproves. To break free, you must practice one powerful shift. Move from "will they like this" to "is this true to who I am?" One question traps you in fear. The other anchors you in freedom. Approval seeking fades when you begin to trust your own judgment more than the noise around you. When you understand that validation is optional, but self-respect is essential. When you act according to your values, not their expectations. You don't need their permission to be yourself. You need your courage. Start small. Say one truth you usually swallow. Make one choice without checking how it will be received. Honor one value even if no one claps for it. Because in the end, the applause you chase disappears, but the self you build stays with you forever. 5. Your peace must be more important than their acceptance. When acceptance becomes your goal, peace becomes the price. You cannot hold on to your inner calm if you're constantly chasing a place in someone else's mind. Many people don't realize how often they sacrifice their peace in exchange for belonging. You say yes when you want to say no. You stay in conversations that drain you. You tolerate behaviors that damage your confidence. You twist yourself into shapes that are easier for others to love. But every time you trade your peace for approval, you betray the part of you that longs to live honestly. Stoicism teaches that peace is not given by the world, it is protected by you. And protection requires boundaries. Without boundaries, anyone can invade your mind, alter your emotions, or steer your actions. Without boundaries, you become a character in someone else's story instead of the author of your own. When someone's acceptance threatens your peace, that acceptance is too expensive. Think about the people you've tried to impress, the relationships where you overextended, the moments when you felt small just to keep someone close. Did any of that give you peace? Or did it create anxiety? The fear that if you stopped pleasing them, they would disappear. That fear is the cage. Peace begins the moment you choose yourself over their shifting expectations, not out of selfishness, but out of clarity. A peaceful mind is not distracted by constant evaluation. A peaceful soul is not twisted by every opinion. A peaceful life is not shaped by the unpredictable reactions of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it does not harm your character, it cannot harm you." What does this mean for acceptance? It means someone's approval cannot improve your character any more than their rejection can diminish it. Their acceptance is external. Your peace is internal. These two should never be confused. You're allowed to disappoint people who expect you to abandon yourself. This is one of the hardest lessons. We fear being seen as rude, detached, or uncaring. But there is a quiet truth. Those who love you in a healthy way will never demand that you sacrifice your peace to keep them comfortable. Only those who benefit from your lack of boundaries will call your peace selfish. Your job is not to make everyone comfortable. Your job is to live in alignment with your values. Peace is built through choices. Choosing silence instead of defending yourself endlessly. Choosing distance instead of living in emotional chaos. Choosing honesty instead of pretending. Choosing presence instead of overthinking every reaction. Choosing dignity instead of approval. Your peace is a form of self-respect. Guard it like something sacred. Begin practicing this today when you feel pressured to please. Pause and ask, does this choice protect my peace or endanger it? If it endangers your peace, the answer is already clear. Because acceptance fades, opinions shift, and people come and go. But your peace, when defended, can stay with you for a lifetime. Choose peace first, and acceptance will never own you again. 6. Standards over opinions. Live by your values. When you don't know your own standards, you become vulnerable to everyone else's opinions. The clearer your values are, the quieter their judgments become. Most people feel lost, not because the world is loud, but because their inner compass is silent. When you lack personal standards, clear principles that guide how you live, every comment becomes a command, every opinion becomes a direction, every criticism becomes a crisis. You start drifting, bending, reshaping yourself to meet expectations that were never meant for you. And the more you shift, the more disconnected you feel from your true self. Stoic philosophy teaches that a life without values is a life without sovereignty. You cannot stand tall if you don't know what you stand upon. People who don't anchor themselves in values end up reacting to everything around them. The moods of others, the noise of society, the fear of rejection, the desire to fit in. But once you claim your standards, once you define what matters and what does not, the world loses much of its power to shake you. If you don't set your standards, someone else will set them for you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to live with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. The 4 Stoic virtues. These were not abstract ideas. They were anchors. They shaped how he spoke, how he made decisions, and how he responded to pressure. Opinions came and went, but his standards remained firm, which is why he stayed centered even while leading an empire through chaos. In your life, your standards play the same role. When you decide what kind of person you want to be, honest, disciplined, compassionate, confident, other people's comments stop dictating your identity. Their approval becomes optional. Their disapproval becomes irrelevant. Their confusion becomes noise instead of direction. A person with strong values is unshakable, even in a world full of opinions. Imagine someone criticizes your ambition. Without values, you may shrink. With values, you ask, does this align with my purpose? Imagine someone calls you selfish for setting boundaries. Without standards, you feel guilty. With standards, you know you're honoring your peace. Imagine someone tries to pressure you to fit in. Without a compass, you fold. With a compass, you walk your own path. Values transform judgment into background static. To build this strength, start by identifying your non-negotiables. What do you refuse to sacrifice? What do you stand for even when no one is watching? What behaviors do you accept in yourself? And what behaviors do you reject? When these are defined, decisions become easier, relationships become clearer, and your sense of identity becomes unbreakable. When you know who you are, no one can tell you who to be. Remember this: opinions are cheap, unstable, emotional, inconsistent. Values are steady, internal, timeless. When conflict arises between the two, choose values every time. Opinions may impress people briefly, but values will build a life you can be proud of. Begin today. Write down 5 personal standards you refuse to compromise. Live by them quietly, consistently, unapologetically. Because in the end, it's not their approval that shapes your life. It's your alignment with the values you choose. 7. Approve yourself first. Then no one can shake you. The deepest freedom begins the moment you stop waiting for others to validate you. When you approve of yourself, their rejection loses its power. Most people don't realize this, but the root of caring too much about what others think is not actually fear of judgment. It's a lack of inner approval. When you are unsure about your own worth, every opinion feels like a verdict. Every silence feels like disapproval. Every disagreement feels like a threat. You look outward for permission to feel confident, to feel lovable, to feel enough. But nobody out there can give you what you refuse to give yourself. Stoicism teaches that self-respect is the beginning of inner peace. If you do not build your worth from the inside, you will spend your entire life chasing scraps of validation from the outside. You will shape yourself for applause, shrink yourself for acceptance, and exhaust yourself trying to hold together an identity built on other people's approval. Your self-worth cannot depend on people who are still trying to figure out their own. Think about the moments when someone's opinion broke you. Was it really because their words were powerful? Or because you secretly feared they were true? The world can only wound you on the soft spots you refuse to strengthen. When you approve of your effort, criticism doesn't destroy you. When you approve of your identity, disapproval doesn't confuse you. When you approve of your dreams, doubt doesn't derail you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This applies not only to fears and misfortunes, but to self-judgment. You hold the authority to decide how you see yourself. You hold the right to rewrite your story. You hold the responsibility to stand behind your own reflection, even when others don't understand it. When you become the source of your own approval, the world becomes secondary. Self-approval isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's the quiet recognition that your worth is not a vote, not a measurement, not a negotiation. It's the willingness to stand by yourself even when others stand back. It's the courage to validate your own growth, your own choices, your own path. To build this, start practicing internal affirmation, not empty praise, not delusion, but honest acknowledgement of who you are and who you're becoming. Remind yourself of the obstacles you've overcome, the strength you've shown, the growth you've earned. Celebrate the moments when you stayed true to your values, even when it cost you popularity. Honor the times you walked away instead of betraying yourself to fit in. Approval isn't something you chase, it's something you claim. Here's the shift. Stop asking, do they like me? Start asking, do I respect myself today? If the answer is yes, nothing else matters. If the answer is no, no amount of external approval will fix it. When you approve yourself first, rejection becomes redirection. Disapproval becomes data, not identity. Criticism becomes a mirror, not a master. And suddenly, the world's opinions stop shaking you because your foundation is no longer built on them. Approve yourself, and you become untouchable. In the end, everything we fear about other people's opinions is just an echo of the doubts we hold within ourselves. But throughout this journey, you've uncovered 7 Stoic principles that can free you from that invisible cage. You've learned that you cannot control their thoughts, only your response. You've seen that their judgment reflects their own limitations, not your truth. You've discovered that people think about you far less than you imagine, and that chasing approval only steals your peace. You've realized that your values, not their opinions, must guide your life. And most importantly, you've learned that self-approval is the foundation of unshakable confidence. You don't escape judgment by pleasing people. You escape it by returning to yourself. From this moment forward, choose the inner voice over the outer noise. Choose the path that honors your peace, even if it disappoints others. Choose the standards that define who you are, not the expectations that pull you away from yourself. If you walk through life anchored in these truths, no opinion will ever own you again. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, share your thoughts below, subscribe, and carry these Stoic principles into your day. Your life becomes lighter the moment you stop living for their approval and start living for your freedom.